Okay. So knowing that we haven't practiced together for the past 2 weeks, or past week, come to a seated position, close your eyes, focus on the breath. Prepare yourself for the next 60 minutes of practice together. Observe the breath, observe the flow of the breath. Observe the parts of the body that move with the breath. The belly, the ribs, and perhaps even bringing the focus to the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor is another one of the diaphragms that we have in the body. And it also moves down, although much more subtly than the diaphragm around the base of the ribs with each inhale breath. So see if you can bring awareness to the floor of the pelvis. And notice those very subtle movements in that area. Having identified the flow of the breath, the movement of the breath, the attention now comes to the belly, back to the belly and the ribs, and begin to even out the flow of the breath between your inhale and your exhale breath. Expanding the belly with each inhale. Emptying the belly with each exhale. Increasing the availability of oxygen in the bloodstream by expanding this more area of the lungs to allow for more exchange, for more movement of oxygen into the blood and more movement of carbon dioxide out of the blood. Feel the contact between the sit bones and the seat of the chair. Follow the energy from the sit bones through the pelvis into the sacrum, and then try to think of moving vertebrae by vertebrae all the way up the back, stacking the vertebrae one on top of the next, stacking the neck over the spine and the head on top of the neck. And knowing that the movement that comes with the breath is that start of some very gentle movement of the spine that begins to promote that circulation of synovial fluid around the vertebrae, around the discs, hydrating the discs and preparing them for our practice. Now, checking in with our seated mountain pose, begin with the contact of the feet with the floor. Press the mound of the big toe into the floor and lift all 10 toes away from the floor and spread the toes out. Try and create as much space between the toes as you're able. Come back to the center of the heel and almost feel, or see if you can feel the 3 points of contact, the inner, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the center of the heel, and then visualize the arches that give the foot strength and integrity that outline the sides of the triangle formed by the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and the heel. Come up the legs, think of those muscles in the shins that bring mobility to the feet, the calves that move the legs. Come up through the knees, the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes. And then visualize those muscles that run along the spine and provide support. If you think of those model skeletons that are used in anatomy classes, the skeleton actually has no strength or no structural integrity without them. The muscles give structural integrity to the bones, hold them in position, and allow them to do the work of supporting the weight of the upper body. Let's bring the hands to the side and begin our practice by inhaling and lifting the arms overhead, and exhale the hands back to heart center. Once again, inhale up, exhale back to heart center, and 2, inhale up, and exhale back to heart center. Let's continue to work the shoulder blades by gluing the elbows to the lowest rib and opening the arms out to the side, and feel the shoulder blades tucking in towards the spine as we open up, opening the front body, maybe feeling some nice stretch across this area. And exhale, come back to center. Inhale, open. And make a fist as we come to center, and then open the hands as we open out for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Bring the arms to the side and roll the shoulders for 1. Go forward, up, back, and then slide down the back. Forward, up, back, and slide down the back. Once more, forward, up, back, and slide down the back. Stretch the arms out to the walls. Stretch the fingertips out. And let's take the right arm over the left, reach around. Bring your fingers onto the shoulder blades. Breathe here. And see if the hands might come together for eagle arms. Lift the elbows any amount. Lengthen the spine and fold over the thighs. Breathe here. Inhale, come back up. Unravel the arms, stretch out to the edge, and now take the left over the right, the opposite cross of the arms. Inch the fingertips onto the shoulder blades if you can, and either stay here or Weave the arms around one another, lifting the elbows, and direct the breath into that space between the shoulder blades, expanding the upper part of the lungs. And think about leaning forward over the thighs, stretching the spine nice and long. Inhale, return to center and unwind the arms, and let's roll the shoulders. Take the arms to the side. Let's inhale the hands out to about a 45-degree angle. Raise the arms to parallel with the floor. Flip the palms. Continue up. And then raise the arms overhead. Come back. Flip. Bring the arms to 45 and down. Come back up. Flip. And up. And down, 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 and down. Final time, let's go out, up, flip, and overhead. Come back, down, down, and down. Bring the hands onto the thighs. Do some cat-cow breaths. Inhaling, lifting the sternum. But try and keep that chin engaged like you're holding the grapefruit between the chin and the notches of the collarbones, and round back towards the back of the chair. Inhale, come up. Exhale, round back. Inhale, up. Exhale, round back. One final time, inhale, lift the sternum, and exhale, return to a neutral spine. The arms come to the side. Inhale the arms overhead, interlace the fingers, release the pointer fingers, and exhale towards the right side, bringing a lateral stretch all the way down the left side of the trunk. Breathe into that left side of the body. But now bring your attention to the right side of the body and think of those muscles at the right side of the belly, drawing you deeper into this lateral movement of the spine. Inhale, come back through center, and exhale in the opposite direction. Again, using the lateral muscles to draw you down towards the left now. Inhale, return to center, and as we unwind the hands, take that left hand to the outside of the right thigh and twist towards the right side. If you can, work the right hand in towards the base of the spine, and let that right arm almost become a second spine as we twist around the axis of the spine towards our right side. Inhale, come through center, take the right hand to the outside of the left thigh, take the heel of the hand as close to the sacrum as you can, and twist in the opposite direction. Inhale, let's return to center. Take the hands, wrap the fingers around the lowest ribs, and now just slide the lowest ribs laterally, keeping the pelvis level and creating some lateral movement in the lumbar spine. Let's come back to center. Walk the feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. place one hand on each of the knees, and we're going to do a bit of a Charleston move just to warm up all those joints along the legs. So bring the knees together, switch hands, and take the legs apart, and switch hands back. So and just think of how many joints in the legs are getting some work here. And I notice the camera doesn't quite want to keep up with this movement. And come back to center, and let's walk the feet in again. Just check in with our seated mountain pose again. Notice the point of contact, the foundation for our seated poses being the sit bones and the front edge of the chair. Interlace the fingers and let's draw that right knee in towards the right shoulder. Flex and point the toes of the right foot. And notice your hands in contact with the shin. Most of the muscles that move the foot, they're in this front quadrant of the shin. So feel them flexing or contracting and releasing as you move the foot up and down. Point the toe towards the floor. Now bring the hand onto the knee, and we'll continue to create mobility in the hip joint by circling the right leg first in one direction, and then whatever direction you went in, go in the opposite direction now. And try and find the maximum, the limits of your range of motion as you move around, right? Draw that knee in, release the right ankle onto the right knee, and flex the right foot strongly towards the right shin. As we're flexing in, press the mound of the right toe out. Draw in, support that right knee with the right hand, and now press. There's no movement here. We're pressing the right knee into the right hand, creating strength in an isometric way as we press that knee in. Use the hand to resist and then release. And you might notice the knee drops some amount. Once again, press, 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 press. Bring as much strength, but don't hold your breath as we do this. And drop. Let go of everything. One final time here. Press. And release. Now, let's slide those knees across. And just with the knees crossed. Just draw in. Lengthen the spine towards the ceiling. Let go of the breath. And let's unwind the legs on that side. Let's interlace the fingers behind the leg and lift and lower the right leg, pressing the mound of the big toe out for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Stretch that right leg out. Flex the toes strongly in towards the shin. And now use the muscles. So reach around behind the thigh, feel the hamstrings, and use those hamstring muscles to press the heel down into the floor. And if you reach, you should feel that there's a lot of tension in the hamstrings are fairly solid now. Keeping that pressure on the heel, open the leg out towards the side, and then press the heel in as you draw the leg back to center. For 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, and 12. Keep that leg out towards the side. Find one of your blocks, place it on the left side of the chair. See if you can roll that right hip to stack on the left hip, and that will likely bring your foot onto the floor. If you can see yourself on the TV or on your computer screen, see if you can draw a straight line from the heel up the leg, all the way up the right side of the body, and then lift the right hand away. You can look up towards the right thumb now. And let's inhale, come back up to center, and draw that right leg back in center. Coming to the left side with the non-dominant interlace around the knees, or around the shin. Let's draw that right shin, or left shin in towards the body. Flex and point the toes. Again, observe. Observe the muscles in the shin moving as the toes move. Or the foot moves up and down. Circle in one direction. Circle in the opposite direction. Release that the left leg onto the right thigh. Flex the toes in towards the shin, and just rock that leg gently a bit first. And now press that knee into the resistance of the hand, but you're also pressing the hand into the knee. And feel the muscles, feel the work here. And release. Let's press. Remember to keep that foot flexed and to breathe. And release. And final time. Flex. Press. And release. Release the foot back onto the floor. Let's stretch. Let's reach behind the thigh. You can lift the leg up, or for a little bit extra strengthening, you can just release the leg and move it unsupported for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Stretch that right leg out or left leg out in front. And you might just bring that block now over to the left side. Slide over. And so first of all, press the heel strongly into the floor and reach around behind the thigh and see if the muscles, the hamstrings are working here to press that down. So they should be nice and firmed up. And there'll be some tension in the quads, but not as much. And now open that leg out towards the side and return to center. Try and keep that downward pressure on. So we're strengthening more than just the abductor muscles and the adductor muscles. We're also working on building that strength in the hamstrings. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now actually leave that out to the side on 12. Bring the hand, the right hand onto the block. Let that hip roll forward to stack. Create that line down the side of the body and either lift up so breathe here, maybe look up towards the left thumb. And let's come back down, lift up, and come back to center. Find our foundation here and let the knees sway from side to side. Let's bring the arms to cactus. Breathe here. Bring the right elbow across onto the right knee and twist towards our left side and open up, twisting left. Breathe here. Inhale, come back through center, through cactus, and go in the opposite direction and twist now towards our right side. Inhale, come back to center. Now we're going to do that same twist, but this time you can choose to deepen the twist by taking the elbow to the opposite knee, or if going to the same knee is enough for you, just go to the same knee. So beginning in cactus, let's twist and drop either to the same or opposite knee to deepen the twist. Inhale, come back up through center. And again, either twist to the same or opposite knee. Inhale, return to center. Raise the arms overhead. And exhale, fold forward over the legs. bringing the ribs to rest on the thighs, and either support the hands with the blocks or let the fingertips graze the floor. If it's available to you, you might even reach around, wrap the arms around the back of the legs and press the ribs into the thighs. Strengthening the secondary breathing muscles, because now they're working against some resistance here. Release the hands, rise up. The hands meet overhead. And draw the hands back to heart center. Now let's turn sideways on the chair and bring one thigh parallel with the back of the chair. Let's work that other thigh or the other leg so it create a straight line down the outside of the body from the shoulder through to the knee, and then strengthen these muscles in the front of the body, starting right at the pelvic floor, lifting up through the front body to support the spine from the front as well as the back. Curl the toes under, press the toes in. Feel a stretch in the bottom of the foot and probably in the quads now as well. So see if you can keep that outside hip rolling forward, increasing the stretch and lifting the pelvic floor towards the navel. Increase the stretch, lift the arm overhead, and perhaps bring both arms up overhead. You might even choose to swing that arm back, reach down towards the heel, and open up the front body here. Or you might bring the hand to the back of the chair, lift that leg up, reach around the foot, and find that, again, deepen that quad stretch, or use your strap around the leg to open up the front body, those quad muscles. And take one more breath here. And now stretch that outside leg back as far as you can. Keep the toes curled under and work that leg towards straight. Again, feeling that stretch all the way along this section of the body. Keep rolling that hip down forward and keep lifting the pelvic floor towards the navel to support the front body. Release the hand and come into warrior two. Release, come back to center. And just allow the knees to sway gently from side to side. Turn the body in the opposite direction. And let's bring that outside knee below the hip and create that line from the hip all the way up through the shoulder and lift that outside. Lift the one or both hands. Breathe here. And now perhaps reach back towards the heel. Open the front body. And maybe reach down and grasp the ankle or the foot and stretch the quads. Try and keep that knee pointing towards the floor. It might want to work out towards the side. Try and keep the knee pointing towards the floor. Breathe here. And let's release that outside leg. Come back to center. And just windshield wiper the knees from side to side to release that tension that's probably built up around the hip joint. Come back to center. And let's come up to standing. So let's come to standing, facing the seat of our chair. Let's bring the hands onto the chair, either grasping the edge of the seat or placing the hands flat. So we're coming into a standing version of table pose. Lift the inner edges of the legs and remember that triangle that we traced out on the feet near the start of the class. Try and bring the weight onto those 3 corners of the triangle and feel the arches carrying the weight out to those points of contact. Bend the knees slightly, firm up the belly, align the head with the spine. And now let the shoulder blades slide together and then lift away from the seat of the chair. So the whole upper body is moving as one unit, creating some nice fluid motion as the shoulder blades slide in towards the spine and then away from the spine. And come back to neutral. Stretch the right arm out towards the side body and weave the right arm underneath the left armpit. Inhale, return to center, return the right hand to the chair. Stretch the left hand out to the side, weave it under the body. Breathe here and come back to center and hands come onto the chair. Step the right foot in towards the chair and stretch the left foot back. Position that right knee over the heel or just slightly behind the heel and work that the other foot back. Just finding the spot where you're comfortable, but you feel also supported here. You can keep the hands on the chair or bring the hands onto the thigh. Breathe here. And maybe lift one or both hands away from the chair, coming into runner's lunge. Release the hands onto the chair and bend and dip the back knee and straighten the leg, straighten both legs. Come into the chair, bend both knees and straighten. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Step both legs back to meet and come into a chair. Move the body into a V and come into a chair down dog. Breathe here. And now let's step the opposite leg in towards the chair and come back into our runner's lunge on the second side. Try and get the heel over the toes. Come up and maybe take the hands onto the thigh. And lift one or both arms away. Release and bend both. Straighten both legs and bend both knees for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Step both feet back to meet and come into a chair down dog. Now, again, come forward any amount into a chair plank, and we're going to hold our plank for 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and press back to down dog. Walk the feet forward towards the chair. Let's come up to standing. We'll finish off our standing work with tree pose. So coming to standing, build the foundation with the chair side foot. You can lift the heel on the outside foot. You might not go more deeply into the pose than this. You can open the knee, bring the foot onto the ankle. You might move it up onto the calf or up onto the inner thigh. The hands might stay on the chair or come together, heart center, one or both. And then you might open the arms towards the ceiling. Exhale the hands back to heart center. Let's bring that leg in. And just let that leg swing like a pendulum on the outside. Switch sides. Again, foundation first. Lift the knee, open the knee, ankle, calf, or up onto the thigh. To center. Open up. Breathe here. Back to center. And let that leg swing forward and back. Let's come back to seated. Coming to seated. Find our seated mountain pose. Find the breath. Now let's walk the legs into a V. Bring the blocks into the center of our V. Inhale here. Make the spine nice and long and fold into the center of the V. You can either bring the hands to the floor or walk the blocks out in front. So almost a combination of downward dog arms and the wide-legged folded forward fold. You might even stack the blocks to rest the floor head. Inhale, come all the way up. The hands meet overhead. And exhale the hands back to heart center. Walk the feet back into the center. We'll inhale the arms overhead and exhale. Take the left hand to the outside of the right thigh and twist towards our right side. Breathe here. Inhale, come back through center and twist in the opposite direction. Inhale through center, coming to center. Let's do some cat-cow breaths here. Inhale up. Exhale, round towards the back of the chair. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale. And come back to a neutral spine. Now, let's prepare ourselves for final relaxation. So do whatever you need to do to be comfortable for the next few minutes. We have a little more time. We're going to have a little longer final relaxation today than we often do. So just allow yourself. You might add some extra clothing, although it's certainly not going to be a day where you're going to need a lot of extra clothing likely. Today you just would have to go outside and you could do hot yoga. So let's come to our seated position on the chair. Find that comfortable spot. Take a few moments to let the body settle in. And then maybe there might be a tiny micro adjustment that you can make that would make you feel just 5% more comfortable. So think about making that adjustment, then let yourself settle in again. And continue to make those micro adjustments as necessary to be as comfortable as you can during final relaxation. Now, Bring the focus of your attention to the feet, to the toes, to the bases of the toes, to the arches of the feet, the heels, and the ankles. Allow the toes, the bases of the toes, the arches of the feet, the heels, and the ankles to completely relax. Breathe. The toes, the bases of the toes, the arches of the feet, the heels, and the ankles are completely relaxed. We now come to the legs, to the calf muscles, to the shins, to those muscles in the shins that you felt moving the toes, to the knees, the quads, and the hamstrings. Again, those hamstrings that we focused on earlier in our practice. Allow the shins, the calves, the knees, the kneecaps, the quads, and the hamstrings to completely relax. Breathe. The shins, the calves, the knees, the kneecaps, the quads, and the hamstrings are completely relaxed. Our mind's eye now focuses on the glutes, the hips, the pelvis, the sacrum, the lower belly, and the pelvic floor. Allow the glutes, the hips, the pelvis, the sacrum, the lower belly, and the pelvic floor to completely relax. Breathe. The glutes, the hips, the pelvis, the sacrum, the lower belly, and the pelvic floor are completely relaxed. We come now to the spine, to the muscles supporting the spine, and the back. Allow the spine, the muscles supporting the spine, and the back to be completely relaxed. Breathe. The spine, the muscles supporting the spine, and the back are completely relaxed. We come now to the arms, to the elbows, to the wrists, to the palms, to the thumbs, and the fingers. Allow the arms, the elbows, the wrists, the palms, the thumbs, and the fingers to completely relax. Breathe. The arms, the elbows, the wrists, the hands, the palms, the thumbs, and the fingers are completely relaxed. Our focus moves now to the shoulders, to the collarbones, to the muscles of the upper back and the neck. Allow the shoulders, the collarbones, the muscles of the upper back and the neck to completely relax. Breathe. The shoulders, the collarbones, the muscles of the upper back and the neck are completely relaxed. We come now to the skull, to the forehead, to the eyebrows, the space between the eyebrows, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, the lips, and the tongue. Allow the skull, the forehead, the eyebrows, the space between the eyebrows, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, the lips, and the tongue to completely relax. Breathe. The skull, the forehead, the eyebrows, the space between the eyebrows, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, the lips, and the tongue are completely relaxed. Nearing the end of the journey, we focus on the chin, the throat, the chest, the heart, the internal organs, and the belly. Allow the chin, the throat, the chest, the internal organs, and the belly to completely relax. Breathe. The chin, the throat, the chest, the heart, and the internal organs are completely relaxed. We now encompass the whole body with the mind's eye. Allow that feeling of relaxation to spread to the whole body. Breathe. The whole body is completely relaxed. Begin to bring movement back to the body by deepening the breath, wiggling the fingers and the toes, and doing any movement that would feel good to you at this stage of our practice. You might even stretch the arms up overhead. Just do whatever you feel you need to do at this stage of our practice. Release the hands, come back to seated mountain. Take a moment in seated mountain to close the eyes, scan the body, observe the effect of your practice. Bring the hands together at heart center. Thank yourself for making time for this practice today. Thank each other for sharing your practice on this warm and sunny day. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through this practice today. Namaste.
Thanks, Allan.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Allan.